Hello and welcome to Cricket Diaries, a series of interviews that will take you through the best cricketing stories from club cricket from around the world. Today, joining us, we have Jonathan Hardisty, a founding member and the former captain of Grace's Cricket Club, the first ever LGBTQ inclusive cricket club in the entire world. So, Jonathan, what has been your cricketing journey so far?
Like many cricketers, my interest started at school, and it kind of never stopped from there. Really, um, played like local cricket, just friendlies down in my hometown. Moved to London, and I played for a team called Pacific. It was still going, and that's when I first came across Gracie's while I was playing for Pacific. So that was 1996, when pre-internet and pre-mobile phones times then. And I can tell you a bit about how Gracie started if you want.
Absolutely, yeah. I would love to know.
Yeah. So there was a publication called the Pink Paper. I think it's online now. And the owner of a pub, LGBTQ pub in King's Cross called Central Station, a gentleman by the name of Duncan, just posted a little ad in this paper saying, "Who likes cricket? Anybody out there? If we have enough, we'll get a meeting." And then lo and behold, we had enough for a meeting in the pub. And then we realized we had enough people who had actually had some experience. So we decided to get a team together. And that was the following year in 1997. I remember it well. We played a team in Wenlock, which is in northwest London, and we surprised everybody by winning the very first game.
Wow. So, how did you guys decide on the name Graces? What was the story behind the name?
And I think like WG Grace is someone like a very iconic in the cricketing world, and we thought it was kind of like commands respect, a bit of a formidable figure. So we thought, well, let's take him on board. So we decided um, with Gracie's. I can't remember whether any other suggestions at all, but it obviously got the thumbs up, and we actually got some publicity out of that because the family of WG Grace took offence at us using the name for some reason. Not quite sure why. Um, it was the cricket authorities decided that there was no problem us using the name because it was no way pejorative at all. So we got some press out of that. I'm not sure how
Wow.
the Grace family feel now. I'm sure they are probably a bit more up to date with those matters.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you're using cricket's first superstar basically to launch the first LGBTQ inclusive club. Uh, a lot of firsts there. So when you guys decided to form Graces, how inclusive were other clubs in London or UK in general?
I think I was quite fortunate. The team I was playing for, Pacific, was mainly a very young team. It used to be a record label, and I was comfortable bringing my same sex partner to the games. However, I know some other clubs uh, did not be so comfortable um, bringing someone with you and being quite open about your sexuality. Um, Thankfully, that's nothing I actually experienced myself, but I know some players experience that from their clubs. So that was very detrimental to their enjoyment of the game, not being able to be accepted as who they were.
Okay. And how far do you think the club cricket environment has come so far in the past 26 years now since Graces has been formed? And how inclusive do you think it has become now?
It's definitely come a long way from those days where it's very, very conservative. And For example, quite a few of the teams we play now have openly out players, which wouldn't have been the case in the late 1990s. In a way, we've lost a bit of our unique selling point. In a good way, though, because now you don't have to join us because we're LGBT inclusive. The team you're playing for already can be very open and accepting. But one thing that's still true, some of our Asian players, we provide a bit of a haven for them because I think some of their families might still be quite conservative in their views, and so they come along and can be themselves, which is great for us. So there's still a long way to go, but there's definitely great progress being made in the cricketing world.
That's wonderful to hear. So, what does it mean for you to be a Graces cricketer compared to just any other club cricketer?
Well, it's good being able to. I'll come up with some cricket cliches here. So, not the stereotype for six, because there's always been an idea that LGBTQ people can't play sport. So it's great when we turn up, especially if it's a new team that we haven't played before, and suddenly they realize that we've got some pretty talented players and they're going to have to play very well to beat us. So that's really good. You've knocking that stereotype out of the park for a start. And also being able to show other clubs, here we are, and encouraging. I'm sure we've encouraged some of their players who were maybe having thoughts about coming out to their club. Hopefully, we've encouraged them to do that by showing, here we are, and it's fine. You can be yourself.
So I believe after Graces, we've had two new LGBTQ clubs in the UK, which would be the Birmingham Unicorns and the Leeds Kites, is it?
The Leeds Kites, yes.
Yeah, so how do you think the environment, or do you expect more LGBTQ inclusive clubs to pop up in UK or around the world?
Definitely hope so. One frustration is that it took until 3 years ago for the Unicorns in Birmingham to start up, and that's been over 2 decades since we first started, and now it's great that the Kites have also started up within 2 years of that. And in the meantime, clubs that set up at the same time as us, like Stonewall Football Club and King's Cross Steelers, both LGBTQ clubs, have blossomed, and they've got a multitude of teams, and it's just been little old us during that time. So that's been a bit of frustration, but I guess better late than never. And it's great how supportive the county clubs have been to each of us.
Okay. So have you or Graces Cricket Club in general seen any tough periods, tough years, tough seasons? This could be in terms of social acceptance, performance. What would be the toughest period for Graces Cricket Club or for you as a cricketer?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Like any sporting club, there's always going to be some political infighting, and we've had our fair share of that over the seasons. I think no more than any other sporting club, whatever their sexuality is. There's nothing really that set us back a long way that I can recall. I've been quite fortunate in that. Leo, the current chairman, has got great diplomatic skills. So any behind the scenes issues, he manages to sort them out pretty promptly. But yeah, just going back over the decades, just the frustration really of not being able to expand as much as we wanted to. While, as I mentioned, other clubs have just blossomed in terms of numbers. So just watching that happen has been a bit of a frustration, and not being able to do anything about it. That we knew if we're doing anything wrong for recruiting. So yeah, it's quite fortunate for me that I haven't had any huge setbacks myself. But we have had some politics, of course, in the club, like any sporting club, when you have strong personalities coming together.
Yeah. Okay. So what have been the highs? We've talked about the lows so far. What would be the highs if you could say any 2 or 3 moments over the 26-year period, which you would consider highs for either your cricketing journey or Grace's Cricket Club in general?
Okay. One real high was we were on a tour of Brighton, and we were trying to find a second game, and I was trying lots of clubs and getting nowhere. And somebody suggested I try Sussex County Cricket Club, who've got a lovely ground in Hove, and they really went out to look after us. And in the end, they hosted a 16 quick cricket tournament on the outfield of their first class ground, involving some of the Brighton LGBT local sports teams and us. And that was such a great day. The fact that here we were on a first class ground, not actually playing on the wicket, playing on the outfield quick cricket, but that was a really great occasion, and that just kind of happened out of nowhere, really, happened very quickly. And other highlights are the tours. We've been on quite a few overseas tours now, and they're always good fun, and it's really a lot of bonding for the team. So long may they continue. I think we might be going to France next season. Any other highs? 2 years ago with Middlesex Cricket Club, during the Pride Month, they asked us to form a Guard of Honour for one of the evening T20 games. So they had camera there and interviewing the chairman Leo up on the big screen. So that's a bit surreal, actually, being at Lord's actually stepping on the hallowed turf, which everybody dreams of. It'd be great if we could actually play there. That's on our to-do list. And right. Also another thing we want to do is have the gay ashes.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure you will. I'm pretty sure one day Graces will achieve that as well. What do you think the impact of COVID has been so far, or has it had a huge impact, or how were the 2 seasons that were impacted by COVID played out?
Yeah, they were a bit strange, because initially we had these regulations that sanitizing gel every so often in the game, and the ball you had to, and then there's no team huddle to start with, and it was all a bit bizarre. And one of the main, that was a huge part of the game, having the tea game, and sadly it's not recovered since then, so it's very rare we get a tea. For one season we started very late due to the COVID conditions, COVID regulations, and I think other sports started and eventually cricket got, which was good. A lot of people who were making the teas have disappeared to do other things.
How do you see the club's future?
Well, one of us is to get two teams out. Only done it once or twice, and then that was a struggle. And then lo and behold, midway through last, this Say It Loud club got in touch with us, who are a support group for LGBTQ plus refugees and asylum seekers. A lot of them come from Southeast Asia. So since June this year, we've had a real influx of cricketers of varying abilities. Some are really good, some are very rusty, and some of the depth has enabled us to have 2 teams for many weekends since June, and hopefully we can carry that on next season. And having those 2 extra teams, I think, will really help our profile. We can play new clubs and just spread the word. So and hopefully encourage some more teams to set up around the country. So with the kites starting, it's really encouraging. There are now 3 of us. So let's wait and see. I await it with interest. So roll on next season. It can't come fast enough.
That would be the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for being on this. Thank you so much for sharing your cricketing story. And thank you so much for doing what you're doing for the LGBTQ community and cricket.
Thanks, Cash. It's been a pleasure.